Hey guys, my name's Kirby, and welcome to part 2 of my Transformers Generation 1 cartoon Soundwave cosplay process video series. Today I'm working on the upper torso section of his armor, including the chest compartment that actually opens. Obviously, I will get to that later. Right now, I am just cutting out the cardboard. You can see I have a smaller half-size version of the pattern, and I'm just doubling the measurements. I didn't make a full-size mock-up for this part since it's basically just a fancy box. You might want to, especially if you're not sure if it'll fit, but I was pretty confident about this part and it did end up working on my first try. So here I'm just cutting out the back of the torso armor section out of cardboard. By the way, I realized I never mentioned this, I'm just using a hobby knife that you can probably buy at any craft store or I don't know where they sell knives. Because this is such a big, important piece, I cut out 2 layers. Cardboard has a certain direction in which it bends, so if you glue together 2 layers with the ridges perpendicular to each other, it becomes a lot more sturdy. At first I tried gluing the layers together with Elmer's glue, as you see here, but that ended up not working. As always, hot glue is superior. After gluing the 2 sheets of cardboard together, I took some more measurements! Yay! I needed to figure out where exactly I had to cut to create the door for Soundwave's chest compartment. I relied heavily on my half-sized paper mock-up, which I think was actually traced from an image of Soundwave. Here I'm cutting out the chest panel. I started with the back because it was simpler, so now I'm starting on the front. It's mostly the same except the top edge is shaped differently, and of course the tape deck. I kept holding it up in front of my chest to make sure it was the right size. It's very important to keep trying on your cosplay as you're working on it. That way you won't finish the whole thing and then realize it doesn't fit. That would suck. That would really suck. It's hot in here, so I'm taking my hoodie off. I don't know why, but making cosplays is really exhausting. Here's some more measuring and outlining the places where I'm gonna cut. Y'all know what they say, measure twice, cut once. It's true, trust me. It's a bit of an understatement, honestly. You should really measure at least 3 times. I would like you guys to know that I drew a little heart for the Decepticon symbol on my paper mock-up. Actually, right now as I'm recording this, the part of this cosplay is done, except it's not painted yet, and the chest looks weird without an insignia, so I drew a heart on that too. I cut out the little door very, very carefully, and I did it separately for each layer of cardboard. Something that made this part kinda tricky to make is that the bottom edge where the door is attached isn't actually perfectly straight, it's got rounded corners. I reinforced the bottom corners with thin pieces of wood so the cardboard wouldn't bend in the wrong place. These wood pieces ended up being sandwiched between the 2 cardboard layers. I just attached them with hot glue. Here I'm finally about to glue the 2 cardboard layers together. Woo! First I made some small adjustments to make sure the 2 pieces matched. And now it's glue time! I tried to fill in the little gaps between the cardboard ridges. I'm hoping that it'll hide the cardboardiness of the cardboard when I paint over the glue. At this point in time, I don't know if it'll work. Someday, I really do want to make cosplay armor out of something that's not cardboard. I'm planning to make the mask for my Hornet Hollow Knight cosplay out of EVA foam. I don't know if I'll record that, because I got no idea what the hell I'm doing. But I know that right now, I am cutting the edges of the cardboard to make sure that they are even and that they fit together nicely. It's hard to cut cardboard with scissors, but sometimes you just have to. I also made a 3/4 inch trim thingy for the tape deck out of thick paper to add a bit more dimension and help me with the painting later. I didn't do this with other parts of the costume where there's a small color detail, but I did it here because it felt like it was important to show the transition between the metal and the glass I'm trying to represent with this cardboard. Actually, when I was planning this cosplay, I was thinking I could find some other material I could use to make the door transparent, but I decided against it because I want to store my phone in there at TFCon. Elmer's glue is enough for this, along with some duct tape to clean up the edges. I finally started cutting out the panel that'll be the back of the chest compartment. I actually messed up here, and I made it too small, but I didn't notice until I'd already built the entire inside of the tape deck, so I kinda just made do with it. To keep the sides all the same width and stuff, I just cut out a little piece of paper and used that to keep the measurements right. I didn't use a ruler or a tape measure or anything for it. I still can't find my ruler, actually. Here I'm gluing the pieces together and being very careful to not get hot glue caught in my carpet. As I applied the glue, I kept in mind that for this particular piece, the inside would sometimes be seen, but the outside, not so much. I continued building up the compartment the same way. I just connected the sides with tape and then connected them with hot glue afterwards. It's a box. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to show the whole thing. And here's the finished box. And here's where I realized it was too small. But it was okay. I attached it to the inside of my chest panel with lots and lots of duct tape. And hot glue. If you're wondering why I'm using a different color of duct tape here, it's because I was almost out of the white one and I didn't want to waste it on a part of the cosplay that wouldn't be seen. Even though this whole thing's going to be painted over anyway, I just want to be careful and not use the color duct tape that is very bright. I did actually later buy a roll of dark blue duct tape that's pretty close to Soundwave's color. As you can see, I started out with smaller pieces of duct tape when I was taping this in, before moving on to bigger pieces to make sure that everything was good and looking right before I committed. I also tried my best not to have duct tape edges visible from the outside of the armor. It's not really possible to completely avoid it, but I wanted to keep it to a minimum. Most of the tape is on the outside of the compartment and the inside of the chest plate, but I did add some on the inside of the compartment and the front of the chest plate to clean up the edges. It took me a while to decide how to keep the door closed. I settled on Velcro, and the only Velcro I could find was from this old backpack, so I cut it out and hot glued it on. However, I'm finding that it's not very good Velcro, so later I'll probably get some better Velcro or just try a different solution. I want to use magnets, but I don't know where I'm going to get them except for online, and I can't order stuff online because I never have any money in my bank account. Please support me on Patreon, I'm begging you. I mean, just kidding, you can do what you want, I guess, but like, please. Please. So, I finally finished up the front armor panel, and I started on the sides. They started out just as squares, and I didn't really make a mock-up, I kinda just went for it. So I'm coming back to editing this video a couple weeks later, and I actually did go and replace the Velcro for the chest door thingy, with magnetic snaps that I got from Joann's, and it works a lot better. I made this piece of cardboard the wrong size. I also labeled it to let myself know that it was wrong and not to use it. So I just adjusted the pattern and tried again. There's an airplane outside right now. It's not Starscream, but that would be funny. It would be cooler if Starscream was here because then he could make funny jokes for my video instead of me having to do it because I don't know how to do it. Scratch that, I wouldn't trust him around my computer. I made sure the side panels were the right size and then I started gluing them on. Unlike the front and back panels, the side panels are just one layer. Having a 3D shape makes the shape stay together a lot better, so you don't really need 2 layers for every single side. Also, because this piece actually has to bend at the bottom to make a sort of diagonal corner, it was just a lot easier to make it one layer, because if it wasn't, I would have to basically cut different pieces in order to make that bend. Second verse, same as the first, but a whole lot louder and a whole lot worse. After a lot of pulling off hot glue strings that I cut out of the video, I am finally attaching the front panel to the rest of the chest armor thingy, whatever it's called, upper torso? Yeah. So I'm gluing that on and holding it in place, and waiting for it to cool, because that's how you use hot glue. I'm not scripting this part. The thing is, if I plan all my dialogue, then it's not gonna take as long to say it all because I'm already gonna have it planned. So if I don't have it planned, then I'm gonna say it a lot more slowly because I don't know what to say, which means that I'll fill up more time in the video. I'm not good at making videos. By the way, that was my little brother, and I told him not to show his face in the video, and that if he did, I was gonna censor it with Transformers memes, so I did so by censoring his face with a picture of Rumble covered in bird poo. Next, I had to actually cut out armholes and stuff, which is something that I didn't do earlier because I wanted to make sure it was going to be the right size before I started cutting parts out of it, and that was a good idea, I think. Of course, I kept trying it on as I was working on it, and making sure it fit. Then I'm making parts to go over my shoulders, which I added on to later but didn't actually record. So I will just show you the finished product. Here it is, as you can see, magnetic snaps. The button, I think I made it a bit too big, but it still works. The cannon I will talk about in a different video, but this is what it looks like from the top. This is what it looks like around here. These pieces are 2 layers. And it was really, really simple. The most complicated part was bending this piece to fit in here, and that wasn't hard. So, yeah. Thanks for watching this video. As of right now, this is how much of the costume I have done. As you can see, I have acquired paint, but I haven't actually finished it, because I've been very busy, because the school musical is coming up. The school musical that I am in. And I have to rehearse. So, at this point, I'm not entirely sure what part of the series is coming next. It'll probably be the forearms, which is going to be a shorter video. And I might actually wait until I'm done painting them, because all I really need to do now is add the red stripe, and I might record that, but I don't really think I have a need to. I don't know. But it'd be cool to have it done to show in the video. All that I have left to actually do is finish the feet and the shoulders, and then everything else is like the waist and the upper arms and the upper legs and stuff, and those, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do, but I'm gonna kind of wait a while to do it. I'm gonna take a little break because, I want to get the costume painted first, because I want to see those parts come together. I just want to see the main part and the main costume, you know, together and looking good, and it would make me feel good. So, with all that said, again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye!